Are you kidding? We're all worried about you, Spike, Dash told him. Twilight was close to freaking out when she heard, and Rarity...
What about Rarity? Spike asked. Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy looked to each other, unsure of what they should tell him. Spike saw the worried look on their faces. What's going on, guys?
Spike, first I want you to know it wasn't your fault, okay? Rainbow told him. Yes, she hadn't eaten anything since the night before, so...
Fluttershy said before Spike cut her off. What's wrong with Rarity? He asked in a panic.
Please, calm down, Spike. Rarity's okay. She went into shock last night and fainted. They took her to the hospital wing, and the doctor said she'd be all right. She just needs rest and food.
Spike sat down hard on the bed, bouncing a little as he did. This is my fault. Rarity's hurt because of me. He began to cry. Fluttershy wrapped her forelegs around the little dragon.
It's not your fault, Spike. None of this is your fault or Rarity's. Don't feel bad, please.
She hugged him tightly.
I think you said you fell asleep while she was telling you Rarity's story. Did you want to hear the rest of it? Rainbow and I were there too when Applejack went and got her uncle.
Does every pony in town know about Rarity's aunt and uncle? Spike asked.
Nope. I think it's just the four of us, unless some pony told Twilight. But then if Twilight knew, the whole town would know,
Rainbow said.
Anyway, what's the last thing you remember her saying?
She said Applejack had left her to go get her uncle while she helped Rarity feed the baby. He told them.
Perfect. That's when we met up with her, Rainbow said. Let's see, if I remember correctly, Fluttershy and I had just come back from one of my practices when we found Applejack running through town, like there was a fire or something. Hey, AJ, what's the hurry? Rainbow called out.
Applejack came to a sudden halt.
Hey, Rainbow. How you doing, Fluttershy? Sorry, I don't have time to talk too much. There's a sort of new unicorn over at Pinky's, and I need to get her uncle over there right away. I hope it's nothing too serious, Fluttershy asked. Who's her uncle?
Carlton, you know that unicorn football player that lives on the north end of town? He's her uncle, and I need to get him over to Sugar Creek Corner quick.
Well, what are we waiting for? If she's in trouble, then we should get going,
Rainbow Dash said as she flew off for the ex-football player's house. The three ponies raced to Carlton's house and the front door. Applejack was first and knocked loudly. A tall, strong-looking unicorn stallion answered the door. His brown mane, tail, bushy mustache, and the three hoof balls on his flank offset the pony's white coat. Fluttershy hid behind Rainbow Dash. Ponies with mustaches always made her nervous. Hey there, AJ. How's your dad doing? I hope I didn't hurt his shoulder too much. Pa's doing fine. We're here to let you know Rarity's here, and she has a new baby sister with her. Well, that's great. My cousin doesn't bring the kids around too often. I didn't know he had another daughter. It'll be good to see him. Thanks for letting me know, he said. You don't understand. They're here by themselves. Rarity said their parents abandoned them. They have nowhere else to go. What? No, that can't be right. Where are they, dear? Carlton asked. They were over at Sugar Creek Corner. Rarity needed to feed her sister, Applejack told him. Then what are we standing around here for? Let's get going, he said, as the four ponies ran to the town's largest purveyor of sweets and pastries.
When we arrived, we found Rarity putting Sweetybelle down for a nap. She told her uncle everything about how her mother couldn't handle another foal. Her parents left for a party and never came back. She stayed in the house for a week when a realtor came and told her that the house was being sold, and movers were coming to pack up the belongings. He told her he had no way of contacting them, and said she couldn't stay there any longer. She had nowhere else to go, so she came here to Ponyville,
Fluttershy concluded.
Carlton and Fran took them in right away, of course,
Rainbow Dash said. Didn't they try and find her parents? Spike asked.
Well, of course they did. Carlton wrote hundreds of letters that every time they came back, marked, "Return to sender." I think Rarity told me once that he went up to Manhattan personally to try to talk to his cousin, but no one could or would say anything to him. It was really weird. It was like her parents dropped off the face of Equestria, and no one cared. It was only a year ago they resurfaced in Canterlot, and Carlton immediately went to go see them. From what I heard, he couldn't get through the front door,
Rainbow Dash sighed. I have no idea what happened, but I can't imagine what it's like to be rejected by your own parents. I mean, I lost my dad years ago to an accident, but that's different. I had my mom, and she had me to get through it. Rarity hasn't really had any pony.
Rarity was always alone. She never really talked to anybody but Pinky. It was about 2 years before you and Twilight came to town that she started her store. Carlton and Fran helped her get the money to start the store, and from the first day she was a big success. She seemed to brighten up afterwards and became more outgoing. She and I even started going to the spa together. That's when she told me that the store was a creative outlet for her. She could let her frustrations out through her designs.
Fluttershy told him.
That doesn't explain why she's so picky and judgmental, why nothing seems to be good enough for her,
Spike said, hoping for more of an explanation.
Oh no, Spike, you have it backwards,
Fluttershy said.
It's not that nothing's good enough for her. She feels like she's not good enough for anything.
Spike was shocked.
She acts like she's above everything, and that things are tacky or not good enough, but that's all it is, an act.
How do you know all this, Fluttershy? Spike asked her.
It was Sweetbelle's 10th birthday. Remember how Rarity wasn't seen for most of it?
Yeah. Twilight told me to see if I could find her, but I never could. And later that night, she came back on her own. Said she had a very important client that was having a fashion emergency and she had to leave, Spike said.
I found her with Pinky crying her eyes out. I don't think I'd ever seen Rarity that sad before. I caught up to her as she left, and she told me that Sweetie Belle's birthday had always reminded her of the day her parents abandoned them, and how she didn't want her little sister to see her cry. She told me about how she felt and made me promise to never tell her sister. She blamed herself for her parents abandoning them, and always questioned if she could have done something better or been a more perfect daughter. Maybe then she would have been deserving of them.
I never knew. Thanks, girls, for telling me all this. It kind of puts things into perspective. I'm a little tired and have a lot to think about.
No problem, Spike. Don't worry. If anything happens, we'll tell you,
Rainbow Dash told him.
I'll try, thanks. Is there anything you want us to tell the others?
Fluttershy asked. Just tell them I'm okay, and if Rarity has a moment, I think I'd like to talk to her later. I said some pretty horrible things to her, and I'd like a chance to apologize. She didn't deserve it.
I think that's a wonderful idea, Spike. If the doctor says it's okay, I'm sure she'll come to see you,
Fluttershy said, as she and Rainbow Dash left the room, closing the door behind them.
Standing on the landing outside the door, Rainbow looked at her longtime friend. That was easier than I thought, she whispered.
Fluttershy didn't respond. Looking in her eyes, Rainbow could see tears being held back.
What's the matter, Shy? She whispered.
Fluttershy turned and looked back at Spike's door. Rainbow Dash followed her gaze, and that's when she heard it. Spike was crying. Pressing her ear to the door, she could make out some of what he was saying.
I'm sorry, Rarity. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
The cyan blue mare yanked her head back from the door in surprise.
"Aw, man, I didn't mean to make the guy sadder," she whispered to Fluttershy. "It's okay, Rainbow Dash. Twilight and Rarity will be up soon to talk to him. I'm sure they can fix this. They've been closer to him than any of us. Come on, Shy, let's go. The others will want to know how it went," she said as they walked down the stairs.
Spike's friends had allowed him to rest for several hours. Dusk was rapidly approaching. Twilight and Rarity were hoping Spike had gotten enough rest. There were some issues both of them needed to get through with the young dragon.
"Do you think it's okay if I come with you? Are you sure he's going to want to see me?"
Rarity asked, as she and Twilight climbed the steps of the tower. "From what Rainbow and Fluttershy said, I'm sure he'll be happy to see you. I just have one question for you," she said. "We've known each other for 5 years now, and you never told me about your parents abandoning you and your sister. Why not?"
"It was my burden to bear, Twilight, and after all that's happened with Discord and Nightmare Moon and everything, I didn't want to add more weight on his shoulders."
"That's very thoughtful, Rarity, but I still wish you had told me. You're my friend." If there's any way I can help you, I want to, Twilight said. As they approached the door, Darity froze a few steps before the landing. I don't know about this, Twilight. Do you think I have any chance of being forgiven for how I treated him? Twilight held a hoof to her mouth and waved Rarity over to the door. Both unicorns could hear Spike through the door. Rarity listened to him sing and felt the love in his voice. Even after everything that was said, he still cares about me? She thought to herself. My gosh, that one I was so lazy with. That one took me the course of a few weeks, I think, to do. That one was just long, and I was lazy. I was reading them section at a time for a few parts of it. And I was doing it every few days, and oh my gosh, that was terrible. How did that? Like, seriously, I was reading them, like, once I got... Okay, I started from, like, one line of equal signs across the screen, and I went to the next one and stopped for the entire day. I went several days before I started the next section. That was just bad. Anyways, that's that. So, yeah. Once I finish this one, I'm not going to start the second one right away. I'm actually going to do a marathon, a week marathon, of Scootaloo Fix. The reason being because I found a few pretty good Scootaloo Fix that I want to read. In fact, one of them I've already read. The other one I started reading, got a few minutes in. I'm going to do a full week, a full 7 days to a week, and there will be more information on requesting and stuff like that, and the rules of all that and stuff. So yes, there are rules of it that I have to follow. If I don't follow them, stuff is going to go on. By the way, you can just like skip ahead to the next video if you don't need to know this stuff. Skip ahead to the next video in the playlist if it's there, which should be chapter 4. Or the chapter 2 bloopers. Depending on when you're listening to this. Anyways. So, yeah, there will be more information on that. The Scootaloo Pick Marathon, the Scootathon, I guess, week. Rules. There will be more information on that sooner or later. That will be tomorrow. I have this Word document planned out for it, so I'll be reading off of that and explain the rules to you, so you know if I've cheated the system. Anyways, till then, this is me, signing out. Any requests for fanfic readings, let me know. Later. Peace!